everybody. Welcome to Laughter Talks. This is Marguerite Fair, and I'm sitting here waiting for my first guest today. Let's see, Spencer. Hello, Spencer. Well, hello, everybody. Hello. This is Marguerite Fair, and welcome to Laughter Talks. And I have a wonderful, delightful, funny, and talented gentleman right next to me that I'm going to introduce you to. This is Spencer Frankenberger. Now, Spencer, I always want to ask you, am I pronouncing it's like I always go to say Frankie Burger because there's no N in it. How do you like it to roll off the tongue?
So it's interesting that you say that because my mom says Frankie Burger and my dad says Frankeberger. Um, but luckily, so either one is fine. But luckily, I'm not hyphenated because if I was hyphenated, I would have been Frankeberger Argyropus,
Oh,
and it would have been,
wow.
I think, too much.
That sounds like a disease. I know those Greek names are tricky. I love it. Well, now let me just introduce you to those people who may not know you. Okay, I have this here now. Spencer Frankie Berger is an actor, and now you're an assistant director, but you're also a director known for many projects like Student and the Master, Laugh Mobs, Laugh Tracks, Thank You for the Music, and you are a stand-up comic and also active in producing plays on the Fringe and
Mhm.
expanding the audience for the annual Hollywood Fringe Festival. And you have had three winning plays in the Fringe. So
I've had three.
awards.
I was working on my fourth musical for this year, but unfortunately, Fringe didn't happen. But I'm still working on it. But my show last year sold out its entire run and won an encore. The year before, my show had an encore and also won a couple of other awards. So it's been pretty fun to just be able to
Wow.
create. And the awards are one thing, but creating, I think, is the bigger
Oh,
thing.
it's the process. It's the doing of it that's amazing. But it's nice to be appreciated,
Oh,
which
absolutely.
is what the awards are a reflection of. So that's a good thing too. So now these were all when we were doing things in the real world, like actually being there in person, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm still working on my musical for this year. And I haven't kind of finished it yet because it's really hard to do musical on technology. I've learned to do live musicals on Zoom or Google Meet or whatever the case. So it's me workshopping it kind of with people and making sure that it works well. So that way, when the world does reopen sooner rather than later, it'll be really, really a solid show. So I'm excited
Oh,
about
that's good. We do have this time to work on things. So there won't be a Hollywood Fringe this year. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Correct. They were going to do it in June, but then because of the world, they bumped it to October. And because we're still not certain, especially with in-person theater, and they're kind of following Broadway and the Edinburgh Fringe. And since neither one of them are opening anytime soon, Hollywood Fringe unfortunately decided to cancel. I mean, it's for the better in the long run
Yeah.
because that way we're stopping, whatever this is. But it's just sad that I don't get to see everyone this year, all their plays and all the work that they've put into all their shows. So hopefully next year will be like a,
Okay.
a double fest.
That's it. It's going to be up and running by next year. And we know that we're going to keep the faith because things are
Absolutely.
looking good. Now, what attracted me to what you're doing is I was looking on your page because I'm a nosy old broad. I like to see what my friends and former. Oh, and also let me say that you were in my movie, The Racists. You
Yes.
played the detective. So
Yes.
that was
So
like
fun.
a huge deal. And if I ever see you in person, or what you can do after the show is give me your address and I will mail you a copy of the DVD. I'm
Oh,
expecting a
great.
new batch. Okay, so we'll do that. So what you are doing now that really it just is something so different. It is you have a podcast that you've created and it's called The Theoretical Thrills, the podcast. Now,
Mhm.
I'm just going to sit back because I've been, watching it and seeing how it goes, but I want you this is so different and it's all around because you're a theme one of your geek things is you're a theme park geek and I
Uh-huh.
love that because I never heard of this. So explain your podcast, how it came to be and how it works.
Sure. So, yes, Theoretical Thrills is for a while. I'm a huge theme park nerd. I'll preface it with that. I love going to theme parks, but it's also like I just watch YouTube videos of different angles of rides and seeing how the rides work. And understanding. I mean, I'm not an engineer, but like I like looking at, like, I would say elementary school age, like science and math, on how theme parks are designed, how the rides are created, and all of that. And I was like, I really love theme parks. I've worked at Universal in marketing and as a performer. And when theme parks closed, I was like, I really miss theme parks. I want to do something with it. And so I had this whole time was like, I should write a podcast. I should do this podcast thing. And so, what better way to do it than when I can't go anywhere and I'm stuck at home? And I had some friends of mine who I know also have worked at theme parks. And so I was like, hey, let's get a couple people in here. And so what we do, it's me, two guests, Brad and Oliver, are my co-hosts for this show. We take IPs that we don't own, that are also not currently in parks, something like Lord of the Rings or Star Trek or Animaniacs, and we create our own rides and attractions based on those IPs, and we pitch them to actual industry guests. And our industry guests range from improvisers that we've worked with who are super fans of shows, or people who have designed rides in theme parks or have created or run theme parks. And so we bring them in and they rank their choices of their favorites based on practicality of a theme park, creativity within a theme park, and overall favorite. So they rank what their favorite ideas are, and we do it in like a fantasy football bracket style. And at the end of the season, the person who has the least amount of points has to do some silly like punishment. And
Oh,
this season,
tell the one about Disneyland. I get a
yeah,
kick
yeah,
out of that one. Tell
yeah.
them
So
what think that one is.
yeah. So the punishment for the first season is the loser has to drive all the way to Disneyland, which is in Anaheim, California. So it's not close to where any of us live. It's about 40 miles away. Literally drive all the way there, go touch the gate, and then drive back. They can't stop and do anything else. And of course, the parks are closed, so there's really nothing to do. So it's just basically spending time and gas to go there.
How do they prove that they do it? It has to be witnessed, doesn't it?
Oh, so here's a fun fact. I'm not going to spoil anything about who lost the season, but we've already completed our whole season, so the punishment has already happened, and the loser actually filmed everything. So
okay.
it was filmed, so it's in the process of editing. It'll be released at the end of the season once we find out who didn't win. But we started working on season 2, and so I'm really excited because what's exciting is there's IPs that I am so obsessed with and that I love, and I'm like, I could write attractions about all day long. And then there's IPs that my co-hosts really love that I have no idea about, and I don't have time to watch. We have a Doctor Who episode as well, and I don't know anything about Doctor Who, and I knew I didn't have time to watch like 300 episodes in a week, so I just kind of Googled it.
You guys have entirely too much fun when you're doing this show. It's
we do
too much fun.
We do. We rib on each other a little bit, and by a little bit I mean a lot. And so it's just a lot of fun because I think generally what's the best thing is, in my mind, I'm a Capricorn, so in my mind I know exactly what I'm trying to say, and then when I try to say it out loud, it frustrates me. It frustrates me more that I can't explain what I'm trying to say than the fact that someone can't understand it. So I'm like, hold on, let me go back. Let me start this again. And I generally become the fan favorite because I have like this tendency to like kind of backtrack and backpedal my own idea, even though it's a solid idea, because everyone's trying to throw these ideas at me. I'm like, no. I'm like, okay, let me start over. And I generally tend to win points because of my inability to pitch my own rides.
Ignorance sometimes pays off. Yeah. I love it. So, like, are you going to tell us what the winner gets?
Oh, so the winner just gets bragging rights. That's it. But it's interesting because we started, filming season 2, and the winner in that episode is like, whoever that is like, oh, I won last season, so obviously my pitches are the best. So it's like this whole idea of like, they're just kind of doing that, saying that they're the best in this and that because they won first place. But we originally started with the idea of each guest picking one ride per category. And then we realized, well, that's really going to be really close. Like it's going to be 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, like very similar in the way in which points are awarded. So we did this bronze, silver, and gold in each category because one person can completely sweep categories and one person can completely be shut out of categories. So it really makes the point system and the scoring a lot easier, and not easier, but a lot more fun. And there's one week, where it's like I'll be down by 8 points and then I win 15 and then I'm up in first place and then I drop back to third and then I move up to second. And so like within one episode, the score order can change, which is really nice, as opposed to that creeping one point at a time.
Wow. So you're on your second season. So the first one is completed. This is your
Last episode will be released on December 23rd, I believe, is the last episode, and then the punishment video will be on the December 30th. So we've
okay.
already
So
filmed our episode for January, our first
how
January.
often are they released? Is this weekly?
Yes, it's once a week, every Wednesday. So we have a video version as well as the audio version. The audio is just the video version without the video. But if you want to watch us like laughing at ridiculous ideas, you can watch the YouTube version. But if you're on the go, you can listen to the audio. And the YouTube is posted usually, I think, Wednesday at 9 a.m. right about, also on our Facebook page. And then the audio is released on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, I think Anchor as well. I can't remember all of them. They're all on the website, but they're all released like.
What is your website name? Because I want to put that there.
It's www.theoreticalthrills.com. It's the name of the podcast.com. But those audio ones are released on Wednesdays, but it's really like Tuesday at like 3 a.m. Pacific. So it's
the same name for the YouTube station. It's the same name, right? That makes it.
And that's all Pacific time.
Yeah, that's really good. So I noticed that how do you determine who your guests are going to be? Because you've got one guy. I noticed he's been a guest several times. And then you have different ones. How do you determine who's going to be on and what are the requirements?
Sure. So one of the big things, we've had Zach twice because he had so much fun and he's like, I want to do another episode. So we're like, sure, we've got no one for PBS. And by the way, we released them out of order in which we recorded them. So we actually filmed his back to back. But we try to get people who have either worked or currently work at a theme park in any kind of position, who's also an expert in whatever the IP is. However, for season 2, I'm really excited because we're getting some people who were like stars of movies, or they're like we're getting a pro wrestler for a wrestling episode, things like that. So we're focusing on either someone who's really done a lot in the industry of theme park.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or we're getting someone who like, oh, this person wrote this movie and we're doing a movie about it and they said they want to come do the podcast. So we balance it out either way, but we try to get people who have theme park experience and are also an expert in whatever that topic is.
I've got an idea for you. Because I was looking at your show last night, I thought, wouldn't it be really cool if they had one for like old people, like a theme park just for old people, where it was like, you're walking around, you have to lay in the bed and the bed goes into the operating room and then you are lifted up onto a table. I mean, seriously, just from watching your podcast, I'm thinking of this huge old people's show. It's like, why not? Hey, I think there's still more baby boomers around than other people. So hey, there's my pitch for you. Tell that to your friends.
I love it. Well, a little bit of a spoiler alert. We're actually filming an episode for season 2 about the Wizard of Oz. So if you want to talk about the baby boomer era, Wizard of Oz is one of my favorite movies. I actually got to see it. On a side note, I got to see it last year in 2019 on the big screen at AMC before the world went crazy. But it was the 70th anniversary, so seeing Dorothy open the door from the sepia tone into the Technicolor Land of Oz was just incredible to see that on the big screen, remastered, and it was wonderful. And so it had been a while since I saw that movie, but seeing it again, I was like, it's just one of those classics. Like I can't stop loving it. It's so good. And so I'm glad that we're doing a Wizard of Oz episode because it caters to a lot of different ages. I feel like it's a movie that it's like required viewing for any age, really.
Yeah, it really is. Well, that's what's changed too. Things aren't as divided as they used to be because the baby boomers did bring forth great forms of entertainment and groundbreaking entertainment, and it has transferred over to the younger people, and it's real. And like we were the kings and queens of rock and roll, baby.
I was in college in the 80s, so like the 80s. And so I learned all of this music and I'm like, oh yeah. And so I had that experience of having all this musical knowledge and variety throughout my childhood. And so
I was poking around about you. You also consider yourself a a music therapist. And I
yeah,
was wondering, well, what's that about? And I think in part you've explained it. So
sure.
you
So I'm actually a board certified music therapist. That's what I got my
really,
Yeah. So that's what I got my bachelor's degree in, and then I took a certification. I did an internship, so I'm officially board certified. I actually just recertified at the beginning of this year, I think it was. So I'm recertified for another 5 years. I do a lot of music with preschoolers, but what I generally tell people with music therapy is it's using music as a therapeutic technique to increase the quality of life in an individual. Now, that could be increasing education, which is what I do with a lot of preschoolers. It's learning, uh, you know, uh, colors and shapes and all that through music, learning how to share, learning these skills that you need growing up. But it's also someone who can't speak. They've got aphasia, or they've had surgery and they're trying to relearn to speak. What you see where people are like, it's music therapy because someone's singing to me. There's always a goal in music therapy. That's the biggest thing, is you don't just go in and sing music. You sing music with the purpose of increasing the quality of life in one way or another.
spoke about that
Yeah, me
because
too.
yeah, that really is. It's so healing. This now, what I'd like to do is, I know you didn't send it yet, but we're going to have a little clip, and if you don't have time to send it, if I have your permission, I'll
Oh,
take a little clip from one of your shows and we'll show it to everybody.
sure. I sent you the trailer if you wanted to show that.
Okay, well, let's hold on one
Yeah.
second. Let's let me pop that up. Let's show.
This is Theoretical Thrills, the podcast where three hosts pitch original theoretical rides and attractions based on things they don't own. A special guest judge awards bronze, silver, or gold based on three separate categories: most creative, most practical, and guest's favorite. Whoever has the least amount of points at the end of the season must drive to Disneyland, touch the first gate, and drive home. With bragging rights on the line, the hosts will try to pick each other's ideas apart through gentle ribbing. So sit back, relax, and stand clear of the moving doors as we present Theoretical Thrills.
Theoretical thrills, the theory of the thrill.
In 3, 2, fun!
Oh, that is amazing. Amazing. Now, explain to us what's in that trailer for those who might be listening and not looking.
Yeah. So the voiceover was done by one of my co-hosts, Oliver, who is a theme park designer. Brad is a theme park technician, and I'm a theme park performer and marketer. And it was basically just a bunch of clips of different theme park rides and things like that, where we kind of discuss what's happening. But also there's images of us in our little Zoom boxes, like ribbing on each other, laughing at things that are happening. And you see some of the guests that we've had. And it also describes some of the parks that we've worked on, like Shakespeare, PBS, board games, some of our earlier episodes. And then of course it also has pictures of Disneyland, because it explains the punishment for
Wow.
so the trailer of fun.
Well, yeah. Well, now everybody's going to enjoy this entire show. I thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for
And
having me.
yeah, well, yeah. Like I said, I'm always trolling around, seeing what people are doing. And everybody, this is a great podcast. So if you want something to be entertaining, go on to the YouTube station and start checking it out, because you get such a kick out of these kids. They're so funny. I love it.
Thanks.
So I'm going to say goodbye for now. And everybody, stay safe, keep laughing, support your immune system, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.
It was so lovely to see Spencer again and have him as a guest. Thank you. And I just wanted to say, wishing everyone a very happy holiday season. Whatever you celebrate, let's just have a good time of it. And make sure you watch for my new shows, a part of Laughter Talks, with they are Netflix movie reviews with Miss Felina Katz and Granny Tino. So make sure you watch for those. They're pretty funny too. Okay, everybody. See you next time. Have a good day. Bye.